What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Captain Jack Fishing. Sounds weird. Sounds so weird, but we'll get into that another day. Today, real quick before we get into the spinnerbait video, I want to show you guys something out here. So, if you remember, I just want to give you a little boat update. If you remember, a few weeks back, I was talking about some of the stuff that was wrong with the boat, and the trolling motor didn't work. And I said that I think it was that red wire that was broke. Well, it was the red wire, so it's working. One more thing though, the new axle came in, and of course it's wrong. In my gut, I felt like that me ordering an axle online was gonna be wrong. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have taken it to the people that's what they do here locally is axle repairs. That's what I should have done to begin with, but I didn't. I was hard-headed and wanted to buy a new one, so there it is. There's a new one, and it doesn't fit. Imagine that. So I did what I should have done to begin with. I took the old one to the place that does axle repair, and the new one will be here in about a week or so. So hopefully that one will be right. So let's get into the spinnerbait video. You're right. Alright, so I just want to start this video off by saying that everybody out there that has watched this video in the past knows that I love spinnerbaits, and I've always used War Eagle. That's all I ever used was War Eagle spinnerbaits until I found this new company. Now, there's nothing, I'm not saying anything bad about War Eagle. They make a fantastic product. I used them for years and years and years, and I never had a problem with them. But my style of fishing, this spinnerbait that I switched to works better for me. It may not for you, but for me it does, and I'm going to show you some of the reasons why I say that. Now, this was the spinnerbait that I used for a long time. This War Eagle red bladed spinnerbait. I used it, I don't even know if that even focused. I used it forever and ever and ever, and this was probably one of I've caught more fish on this spinnerbait than I have any other spinnerbait out there. Now, I did have some issues with this spinnerbait, and like I said, most of them probably my fault. Not to take anything away from War Eagle, it's probably because of me and my style of fishing. A lot of times when I catch a fish on this spinnerbait, I tried to boat flip it or bank flip it or whatever you want to call it, and this little part right here, let's see if it'll focus. This piece right here would always just bend out when you go to pick the fish up. When you go to unhook the fish, it would look like this, where it was bent out. And after you catch the fish, and I'm not gonna say it's just big fish, because little fish would tear it up more than big fish, but it would be bent out like this, and you would always have to straighten it back. Now, one thing about that is that I found is after this thing is bent out and you straighten it back a few times, that metal in that bend gets weak. It gets really weak. More than on one occasion, I've hooked into a big fish, and all I have left is this part here with the blades, and this would break off and still be in the fish's mouth. That's happened to me more than once with this spinnerbait. Now, the other problem that I had with it is, let's see if I can make it focus again. Where this where the shaft that the blade rides on, where it comes into the head, it's not molded together. If you can see in there, there's like a little gap in there. And this thing, see how loose it is in there? This thing would end up breaking off either inside the head, or the head would get so wobbly that it would cut into this metal as it goes into the head. I can't really get a good picture of it, but as it goes into the head, it would, you can feel mine and feel where the metal has actually got grooves in it from where that is cut, and see how loose it is. It's not a big deal, but for me, I got tired of having to, you know, bend it back and shape it back, and you know, the wire, it would always get bent up, and it would, you know, you'd have to spend a few minutes to get it straight and make it run right again, and it kind of got to be aggravating. You know, it still caught fish, but it just kind of got to be aggravating. These things right here, you know, I would have to replace them depending on how much I fish, but usually every 2 to 3 weeks. And that kind of got kind of aggravating too, because they're like $7.50, $8 a piece. You know, not that it's a big deal, but you want to be able to catch more than 10 or 12 fish on a spinnerbait. So I was at my local tackle shop and I come across these spinnerbaits right here. They're called High Performance Lures, and they do have a website. They're made here locally in Mississippi, central Mississippi. You know, it's just not even 5 miles down the road from my house. This guy makes them locally. That is the name of the spinnerbait, and I'm gonna spin it around, and that is where they're made at. And he does have a website. I'm gonna link it down below. These things, so far, I have 0 complaints with them. I tied this, it's hung up. I tied this one on right here, this spinnerbait right here. I tied it on in February. I'm gonna try it, and he makes them with the red blade as well. I was gonna try it in February, and I haven't had to replace it yet. That was May, April, you know, 3 or 4 months ago. I haven't had to replace it yet. I've had 0 problems with it. This little wire right here, I mean, it has just enough flex in it that it doesn't bend when you catch the fish. And if you notice, let's see if I can undo this real quick. I got my line tangled up in it. I mean, it's still tied onto my rod. If you can see this right here, right there where your line tie is, if you can see it, it's looped around. So when you go to boat flip that fish, this part doesn't bend out. It stays just like it is. It doesn't bend or anything. And as your wire comes down into the head, it's molded into the head, so it doesn't come loose inside there like these War Eagles do, where they're just kind of flopping around in there. If you see, yeah, I mean, that's a lot of play right there. These don't do that. That whole wire is molded into the head, and I'm not sure if it's molded into the hook or not. I don't know. Might want to take one apart and look at it one day. But for the same amount of money, I think these may be like 50 cents or $1 cheaper than these. For the same amount of money, I mean, I've been using it for almost 4 months and I haven't had one single problem with it. So that is the whole reason why I changed. It's nothing against War Eagle. They make a great product. It's just my style of fishing. They just don't hold up to my style of fishing. They do, you just have to replace them every so often. So that is why I decided to change. I made the video about me swapping spinnerbaits, and I really didn't think that any of you guys would comment and say you want to know, but just about everybody commented and said they want to know why I changed spinnerbaits. So that's why. I'm telling you, these right here hold up. They hold up great.
You probably won't find them at your local tackle store unless you're here in central Mississippi. Vans, for those of you that are here in central Mississippi, Vans is who sells these. Now you can order them online, you can, and they will ship them to you. Or you can, if you have a small mom and pop tackle store near you, go to them and tell them you want them to start carrying these high performance lures. They make buzz baits and shaky heads too, but I haven't tried any of those. I've only tried the spinnerbaits. So I know that was real quick. Not a lot to it. Yeah, they're gonna flying around. I know that was real quick, but I just wanted to come on here and tell you why I changed spinnerbaits. I don't like to. I don't get paid to promote any lures. I don't get paid to promote anything fishing. I just tell you what works for me and why, and I'll show you when I catch fish. And this is one that it works. It does. I wouldn't tell you that it did if it didn't. So appreciate you guys watching. Drop a comment and let me know what you think about the new name. There's a reason behind that too, and if you want to know, leave a comment and I'll get into that as well. So appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to leave a comment. There's some videos on subscribes right there, I think. Videos on this side right here. Hit those if you hadn't seen them. Appreciate it, guys. Don't forget to drop a comment and let me know what you thought about the spinnerbait. Let me know what you think about the new name, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.